Joaquin Phoenix is a small town New Mexico sheriff in 2020 who makes the snap decision to run for mayor against current mayor Pedro Pascal, largely because they're so divided on whether to follow the lockdown, distancing, and mask wearing rules of the COVID-19 pandemic. The relationships and dialogue here have a stiff, just slightly over the top tone that reminds me a lot of David Mamet's material, or almost as if Wes Anderson didn't go full stylized Wes with the cartoon levels of quirky characters and outlandish schemes and plots. There are a handful of characters and subplots, not all of which are super clear and easy to follow, including one love triangle thing where I honestly did not care about any of the characters. On that note, my only real problem with just over the entire first hour is that I did not find much or any of what was going on all that compelling, and yet that first hour seemed to somehow go by quickly. But I have a feeling the bulk of everyone else will disagree with that and say it was hard to sit through or that not much was happening. That is why my starting point with the review is saying to hang in there because, let's just say, things get a bit nutso totally out of the blue in a way you couldn't possibly see coming. Though things clearly get more tense a scene or two before the madness begins, I'm trying really hard to not even hint at what exactly goes down. But tonally, my absolute first thought was that this thing suddenly becomes a cross between No Country for Old Men and Joaquin's totally badass You Were Never Really Here from 2017. I mean, seriously, this was 2.5 hours, and I swear it was at exactly the 85-minute mark where I was like, what's this meow? And then, yeah, that entire second half is just crazy tense and riveting and effed up. And then the last 10 or so minutes of wrap up is really great as well. And I'm afraid to look it up, but I can only imagine how much flack this movie has received for heavy handedly addressing so many of the social and political hot button issues of the last 7 years or so. From the presidency to vaccines, George Floyd, cults, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and politicizing anything and everything, especially lies. I had to look up who played the ranting homeless guy because he was so covered in filth, and it's the great Clifton Collins Jr.
Precious box, you little box of mud. You think it's yours? You think you did it?
Emma Stone is somehow almost hard to recognize at first as Pedro's troubled, kooky wife until you hear her speak a few times. Same right away with Austin Butler, for me at least, but I'm probably just dumb. Again, that first half could very well be hit or miss with mainstreamers at least, or maybe everyone. But I'd be surprised if most audiences didn't love or at least really like the second half and know that it gets super violent and even gory at times. Absolutely do this. I loved it and thought it was awesome.